How you like that intro, guys? I'll tell you, man, what the fuck is going on in this world, right? I, Usually, you guys, first off, you're listening to Chap's Fantasy Chat. I am going to talk baseball tonight, right? This is what we're here for. This is our escape. Um, I, 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 I do want to give you a little bit of a preface as to why it's important for me before I get into talking about starting pitching. We're still drafting. We drafted today. And you know what? I love it. I love it. I think that we should continue to do that, right? We're Americans, goddammit. This is not going to be a PG episode tonight. Just to be clear. I think it's important. We're going to talk about starting pitching tonight, but I really need to give you guys, just get some shit off my chest. Because, I want to talk about what it's like, what it means to be an American for me personally. I love this country, and I'm a history guy. I have a degree in history. I take this shit very seriously. So, I think this is our time as Americans to do what we're supposed to do. Okay? I think I'm really proud of, I'm really proud of, our ability to unify. This is a unifying act. Let's act like Americans and come together as Americans. And how do we do that? We do that by talking about things we love. Baseball. Tonight I want to talk about baseball. Okay? But before I jump into that, I want to tell you, just give you a little bit of a taste as to why this is important to me. This is important to me because while a lot of people are not working, I go in every day now and provide life-saving medicine for the people that need it. So this to me is a stress relief. This is something I'm goddamn gonna do during the course of this, however long it is. I'm friggin' grateful to have a job. I'm friggin' grateful I can pay my bills. My heart goes out to all of those that are stressing on the other end of it. I love you all. But let's talk right now. Let's talk right now about baseball, keeping in mind a lot of the brevity of the shit that's going on around us, okay? But this is a release. I'm stressed all day. I come home. This is my release. So thank you guys for sharing this with me. Can you hear me? Always important, right? So let's talk about starting pitching. And in all honesty, we're still drafting. We're still going through this exercise. We may not play. That's up in the air. That's not important right now, right? What is important is having a little fun and forgetting about real life for a while. So when we're drafting these teams, thank you, Doug. Thank you. When we're drafting our teams, we're still doing this whole ADP bullshit, right? We're still doing this draft strategy. We don't know how long the season's going to be. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for coming, brother. But fact is, hell, they might start middle of May. They might. I sure should hope I hope it's the case. Okay, so let's talk about these guys. Let's talk about how I go through and bracket these pitchers. I'm going to give you about 36 pitchers tonight. And we're going to talk about starting pitcher 1, starting pitcher 2, starting pitcher 3. Okay? So in weeks past, I've kind of clumped guys into smaller tiers. I kind of look at pitching as like we're setting up a rotation. I want to get one of the top 12 guys. Ideally, you want to get 2 of them, right? But as you look at these guys, you'll quickly see that they're all going really high. Okay? So you kind of have to, with starting pitching, you have to really understand how to identify values. And that's what this exercise is, okay? So tonight, I think it's important. I won't glance over the numbers, but if they're significant, we'll talk about them. And again, that's just from a perspective of the bar that I've set, right? The green, yellow, red, and those haven't been with me the last couple of weeks. Green's excellent. It's the top tier. The yellow's the kind of, it's close, and we've, like, for the offensive categories, we've actually set out numbers, right? And gone through and seen where they land. The pitching is kind of a little bit of a different kitty, just because you're talking about ERA and WHIP, which were kind of like average type numbers. So I didn't really feel, and then wins are tough too, right? There's a lot of quality starts leagues, so I didn't feel like that exercise was necessarily the best approach. But I did kind of take the holistic thought process into it, okay? So as plain and simple, as we go through these pitchers, we're looking for areas where, say, a guy might, say a guy like Mike Soroka, or Kyle Hendricks, who's gonna help your ERA and your whips, and then you're gonna have guys like Dinelson Lamet who are gonna bump up your strikeouts. We're gonna try and identify those numbers and then try and mesh them together, right? Because as we look at these ADPs, we can kind of get an idea as to where you're gonna need to spend draft capital on them. So I think it's pretty interesting when you do this. It kind of gives you an idea when you're going into these drafts. Also, have you guys had any drafts canceled? I'm in 4 leagues. We've postponed one of them. So I'm happy with that, right? Unfortunately, the one is my big league, the one that I go home for. So, that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to going home and see my friends, but shit happens, right? So enough beating around the bush. Welcome, guys. Chris Gallo, The Amazons, Doug Boyle, George, Lenny, Malpow, Kevin, Timothy Hooker. Guests, we got all kinds of guests in here tonight. You can go sign in. It's free or not. It's up to you. But thank you guys for showing up. I really appreciate it. You're listening to Chappy on Chaps Fantasy Chat. Pitchers. Well, this is a fluid list, right? I mean, it's kind of weird because there's a hard stop, but you still have bodies of work, even this year, on these guys. So let's talk about it. Why is the pitching pool so different? Again, it's the large pool of talent. It's the constant fluidity. Therefore, when you're looking at this grouping of players, guys who show up consistently and guys who aren't going to kill you statistically carry tremendous value. Even more so than the ERAs and the whips and the Ks and the wins. That's the most important thing in this category is consistency. Now, obviously, you got to contribute. One goes with the other a little bit there, right? If you're consistent, you're going to be putting up pretty good numbers. Even if you're not necessarily a strikeout pitcher, a la, like I said, Soroka or Hendricks, you're still going to put up good ERA and WHIP numbers. So that's my whole thought process behind that. Let's talk about these guys, the first 12. And again, you can't get these guys. These group of players, you're not going to get as a value, right? These group of players, you're talking about DeGrom, Cole, Bieber. That's right, I'll say it slowly because that's the top. DeGrom, Cole, Bieber, Scherzer, Flaherty, Strasburg, Buehler, Corbin, Clevenger, Castillo, Kershaw, and Giolito. That's the top 12, in my opinion. Now, why are these the top 12? These guys, to me, are the most consistent floors. Right? And that's what you're looking for at this point. The highest floors. I have DeGrom over Cole. I think Cole has a regression this year. I love Shane Bieber. He is a command monster. His ADP is 27. So again, this is a value. High in the draft, right? I've got a lot of shares of Bieber. And again, to me, as the third overall pitcher, in front of guys like Flaherty, Strasburg, Buehler, Corbin, it just says, 259 strikeouts, a 1.05 whip. This guy, just this time last year, we were talking about him being a two-pitch pitcher. Now he's going in the second round. I love Ulias in the 11th round, Malpal. It's a great pick. But in all honesty, let's go beyond. So Bieber at 27. I love Scherzer this year. At 14, he's a high second round pick, but I think there's tremendous value there. Yeah, that draft flew by, didn't it, George? We went through this morning with Andrea's league, which thank you, Andrea, for setting it up. I don't think she's here right now, but we went through a 40-round draft in just under 2 hours. It was really impressive. I mean, it was a bunch of us podcasters, so there wasn't a whole lot of a dilly-dally. Everybody pretty much knew what was going on, but it was fun to do for sure. And that's what I guess. Go do side drafts, and that's what I plan on doing. I guys heard Arnie talking about. I have a home league that I run. I plan on doing a side draft just for fun, just to keep people engaged and interested. Just anything you can do to kind of. This is fun. I mean, even if they're not playing, the anticipation of them playing, right? So, anyway. So there's my first 12. I want to go through a couple more of these guys. Again, Flaherty, Scherzer, I love at 4. My 4th overall, number 14. I think he's due for a big year. He struggled a little bit last year, but, kind of picked it up second half of the year. I really like Max Scherzer this year. Jack Flaherty's my 5th overall pitcher. 2.75 ERA last year, guys. That's really impressive with 231 strikeouts. Again, you can get one of these guys, right? And a lot of times it's who falls to you. These guys, I'm talking about Bieber, I'm talking about Flaherty, I'm talking about Strasburg. Those guys are all clumped in the mid-20s. So, I'll tell you, Strasburg I have bumped up. And it's just because he's really kind of coming to his own. But again, in those mid-20 guys, I think the pecking order is, personally, Bieber, Flaherty, Strasburg. And that's the overall gist of this, right? I love Flaherty, George. I really do. He's so young, right? He's still, 24? So I really like him. I think he's got a bright future. Walker Buehler, 16th overall. What do you guys think about that? Man, he was really damn good last year. 14-4, 215 strikeouts. Whip was amazing, 1.04. ERA is 3.26. I mean, again, he's another one I think he's 24. He's always going to have Kershaw there to take the pressure off of him, which is a positive, right? This really is a good scenario for Walker Buehler. And, my only problem with him, if you go back and listen to what I said about last year, it was his innings. He seemed to have kind of got control of that a little bit. He again, had quite a big workload last year. So I really like Walker Buehler this year. And again, as my number 7 overall pitcher, my only knock on him is the innings limit. And that's not even really a factor, right? That's not even a factor if this season is shortened down to 2 months, even a month, right? He pitched 182 innings last year. I love Paddock, Malpal.